Way number one is to start every slide with something about the prospect, right? You could just say, referring back to what they talked about in discovery, the problems they talked about, the things that were going on in their world. You just in your mind, slide number 3. Okay, you said, half an hour ago that you were really challenged with this, right? And then you lead into that deck, right? This could be as simple as that. You might have done some research ahead of time, right? And you can say, look, I just know from talking to your team or having worked with this company before or seeing what's in the news that this area right here is probably top of mind. Let me just go into it, right? If you don't have that information, you can make it about them by talking about others just like them, right? So you could say that security leaders at other companies have told us that there's 3 things that they often struggle with. And you get into some problem statements maybe, right? And then what you can do is get them ready to take part in the conversation, and by saying, I'm curious what you will think about this next slide, this next topic that I'm going to cover, right? So you're getting them ready, getting them drawn in, ready to engage with that. So start every slide with something about them is number 1. Number 2 is actually all about you and the mindset that you take into this portion of the first meeting. If you can go in there thinking that this is going to be a conversation, even though I've got this thing called a deck, and people might call it the sales deck or the pitch deck, right? Even though I've got this thing called a deck, I want to use it to drive a conversation as opposed to use it to pitch or lecture. Lecturing is an interesting one. Often what happens is that someone in our company, or maybe a small team, will put together this deck, right? And it's got some philosophical things in there. It's got market shaping and things like that. And used wrongly, what happens is you get a seller who's been doing, in this industry or whatever for a year or two, trying to teach someone who's been doing it for 15 years about stuff they already know. And it just doesn't come across well. It's not a great way to build credibility and a relationship with someone when you're lecturing at them about something they already know, right? They're going to start looking at their watch or looking at the email. The other thing as well I said was pitching. So if you literally go in there and start pitching at them, right? Say, it's all about us and we're awesome and we do it this way and it's great and it's so much better. It's not right to have an effective, if you want to have an effective relationship with someone, it's not a great way to treat them to go in there and do that. But you can just change it by thinking about the mindset you have going in. If your mindset is that this is about driving a conversation, not about telling them stuff, then you're going to actually approach it in a slightly different way. The other part of mindset as well is that if you can think about your role is not to convince with the deck. Your role is to drive the conversation a bit further and see if there's an alignment around how to solve some problems that are out there, right? If you're seeking alignment as opposed to convincing them that our way is the best way, it again means for a different mindset as you go in and how you engage in the conversation. So that was number 2, which was your mindset. I want to stop right now because I want to tell you about cybersalesjobs.com. If you are a hiring manager and struggle to find great cybersecurity sales talent, or you're looking right now and are fed up having to check out a bunch of different sites to see what's out there, go to cybersalesjobs.com. It has AE jobs, SEs, SDR, channel, operations, enablement, the whole gamut, and roles at a whole bunch of different cybersecurity companies as well in there. Hiring managers can actually post jobs for free. Job seekers can get alerts as jobs come up for their role in their areas, also for free. So head over to cybersalesjobs.com. Back to our talk track. So number 3 is have specific intentional questions for each slide. If you ever look in your conversational intelligence tool, there's Gong, Chorus, MindTickle, CI, or Refractor, whatever you have, look at first meetings and look for points in the meeting where the bubble where the prospect talks is very small. Right? It's a sliver in that chart that goes left to right there. And I bet you if you look at what happened preceding that, there was a pretty lame question that came from the sales team. Things such as, does this make sense? Does this resonate? Or do you have any questions, right? Almost always the answer back is sure, no, maybe, right? Just lame answers, right? So lame questions get lame answers. But if you have in your mind that at certain points in your using of the deck, there's actually specific questions that you can ask that are really good questions, that are thoughtful questions, that's going to drive a conversation again and bring that person into the discussion. Then you'll find that you'll get them talking. But you have to be intentional about those questions, right? You have to think about what types of questions they might be.